So in this video, we are going to talk about equation of a line. There are essentially two ways of expressing an equation of a line. One of them is called the slope-intercept form, and another one is called the point-slope form. So let us start with the first one, which is the slope-intercept. The slope-intercept form. The slope-intercept form looks like this: y equals to mx plus b, where m stands for the slope of the line, which basically means how steep is the line, and b is the y-intercept, which is usually expressed as a coordinate. How do we find the slope? To find the slope, you take the difference of the y's and divide by the difference of the x's. So sometimes slope is also thought of as rise over run. So rise has to do with, I like to use the vertical, it has to do with the vertical change, and run is the horizontal change. So I like to use that horizontal line for that. So rise is also thought of change in y over run, which is change in x. So that's how you find the slope, and once you have the slope and the y-intercept, we'll be able to write the slope-intercept form of a line. The second way of expressing an equation of a line is called the point-slope form. Point-slope form. One can use either one of these to actually write an equation of a line, but sometimes it is convenient to use the first one, and other times it may be convenient to use the second one. Later in the next video, we are going to look at some examples where we will use both these types, and you'll be able to see which one is easier and convenient for a particular type of an example. So what is the point-slope form? The point-slope form basically is motivated by the slope formula. So if you look at the slope formula carefully, slope m is, instead of writing y2 minus y1, we are going to write y minus y1, and instead of writing x2 minus x1, I'm going to change it slightly by x minus x1. Okay, and I'm going to put an invisible, there is an invisible one in the denominator here, so we are going to put it right here. Now if you have these two ratios and we cross multiply, which means we multiply across, see what's going to happen. This times this, 1 times this is going to be just y minus y1, that's not going to change. And this is going to be m times x minus x1. Right. Now this form that we see, that we get here by cross multiplying here, is basically called the point slope form. Sometimes you can keep it like this. Other times you can actually bring this y1 to the other side, and you can express this as y equals to y1 plus m times x minus x1. So what did I do here? I simply added y1 to both sides. I added y1 here, so this crossed out, I'm left with y, and I just added y1 to this side. So basically adding y1 to the right hand side is just simply writing it out, and then we already have the m, x minus x1. So either you can use it this way or this way, they are both equivalent. And if you actually go ahead and when we actually look at an example, then if you try to distribute this m, eventually you will actually end up getting the slope-intercept form. So basically they are both the same, but there are different ways of expressing an equation of a line, and depending on a particular example, one may want to use number 1 or number 2. Okay, so we'll see these examples in our next video.